The first time Marcus raised his voice at me, I told myself it was just stress. Everyone has bad days, right? We had just gotten married, and I was still glowing in that newlywed haze, convincing myself that love meant forgiveness, that if I just tried harder, things would be fine. But what I didn't know then was that those small flashes of anger, the slammed cabinet door, the icy silence when dinner wasn't perfect, the grip on my wrists that lingered too long, were the first cracks in the foundation of my marriage. And once the cracks started, there was no stopping the collapse. At first, Marcus's cruelty was hidden behind smiles. To the world, he was charming, confident, the kind of man who could light up a room. But behind closed doors, I saw the other side. He chipped away at me slowly, deliberately. He mocked the way I dressed, rolled his eyes when I tried to speak, controlled the money so tightly that I felt like a child begging for allowance in my own home. Every insult left me smaller, every silence heavier. And when I tried to tell his family, when I hinted that maybe something wasn't right, they laughed. "That's just Marcus. He's hot-tempered, but he loves you." Love. What a cruel joke. The truth is, I stopped recognizing myself. The Amanda I used to be, bright, hopeful, someone who dreamed of becoming a nurse, someone who laughed easily. That Amanda felt like a ghost. I became the shadow Marcus wanted, quiet, obedient, invisible. But what I didn't realize was that my daughter, Lucy, was watching everything. Lucy was 10 when she first pulled me aside after another one of Marcus's rages. He had screamed at me because I forgot to buy his favorite brand of coffee. His face had turned red, his fist slammed the counter, and my hands shook so badly I dropped the mug I was holding. That night, Lucy whispered to me, "Mom, I don't think he should talk to you like that." Her voice trembled, but her eyes were steady. She was a child, yet already she carried more wisdom than I could admit to myself. Still, I stayed. I told myself I was protecting her, that keeping the family together was better than leaving. But the lie became harder to tell, especially when Marcus's cruelty began spilling onto her. Little things at first, snapping at her for speaking too loudly, mocking her drawings, calling her stupid if she asked too many questions. I would hold her after she cried, and deep down I knew the cycle was repeating itself. The breaking point came on Thanksgiving. The house smelled of roasted turkey and cinnamon pies. I had tried so hard to create a perfect holiday, hoping maybe, just maybe, if everything looked beautiful, Marcus would be kind for one night. His family was there, gathered around the table, laughing too loudly, ignoring the tension that thickened the air. Lucy sat next to me, quiet, her little hands folded in her lap. Marcus poured himself another glass of wine. His face was already flushed, his words sharp. "This turkey's dry, Amanda," he sneered, tossing his fork down so hard it clattered against the plate. "Can't you do anything right?" The breaking point came on Thanksgiving. The house smelled of roasted turkey and cinnamon pies. I had tried so hard to create a perfect holiday, hoping maybe, just maybe, if everything looked beautiful, Marcus would be kind for one night. His family was there, gathered around the table, laughing too loudly, ignoring the tension that thickened the air. Lucy sat next to me, quiet, her little hands folded in her lap. Marcus poured himself another glass of wine. His face was already flushed, his words sharp. "This turkey's dry, Amanda," he sneered, tossing his fork down so hard it clattered against the plate. "Can't you do anything right?" I felt the familiar sting, the heat rising in my face, the shame crawling under my skin. I mumbled an apology, staring at my plate. His family chuckled as if it were some harmless joke. But then Marcus slammed his fist on the table. The glasses rattled, and Lucy flinched. "Pathetic," he spat. And that's when it happened. Lucy, my sweet, quiet daughter, reached under the table, pulled out her phone, and pressed record. She didn't say a word. She just held it steady, capturing every insult, every cruel word that spilled from Marcus's mouth. Nobody noticed. Nobody. Except me. That night, after everyone left, she showed me. "Mom," she whispered, her voice trembling but determined. "I'm doing a project for school about families. Grandpa said sometimes you have to show people the truth because they won't believe words." On the screen, Marcus's voice roared back at me, ugly and undeniable. My hands shook as I held the phone. Tears blurred my vision. All this time, I had felt powerless, like nobody would ever believe me. But here it was. Proof. Over the next weeks, Lucy became my little secret weapon. She recorded everything: the slammed doors, the shouting matches, even the quiet moments after, where I whispered apologies I should never have had to give. She wrote in her notebook, too, documenting dates, times, what he said, how it made us feel. Guided by her grandfather, who had long suspected but never pushed, she built a case stronger than anything I could have imagined. Marcus had no idea. He grew bolder, nastier, thinking his family's blind loyalty made him untouchable. But the tide was turning. For the first time, I felt a flicker of power, a small flame in the darkness. The day we went to court is burned into my memory. Marcus strutted in, smug, confident, his lawyer at his side. He thought he had me cornered, thought I was still the same broken woman who would cower at his glare. But when Lucy's recordings were played, the entire courtroom fell silent. There was his voice, booming through the speakers. The insults, the threats, the venom he thought no one would ever hear. There were the sounds of me crying, of Lucy begging him to stop. Every lie he had built crumbled in an instant. Marcus's face drained of color. He stammered, tried to explain, tried to paint me as hysterical, but every denial was drowned out by his own words echoing in the courtroom. His family sat frozen, shame painted across their faces. For years, they had dismissed me. Now they couldn't deny it. The judge's decision was swift. Custody was mine. Marcus was ordered out of the house. And just like that, the walls of the prison I had been living in shattered. I can't describe the relief, the way my lungs filled with air as if I were breathing freely for the first time in years. I looked at Lucy, her small hand gripping mine, and realized she had saved me. My daughter had saved me. The years that followed weren't easy. Healing never is. But I found myself again. I went back to school, became a nurse, and built a life I could be proud of. Lucy grew stronger too. She turned her pain into purpose, speaking up for kids who had lived through the same horrors she did. She became the voice I had once lost. And Marcus, he faded into the background. Stripped of his power, his lies exposed, he became nothing more than a bitter memory. Sometimes people ask me how I found the strength to leave. The truth is, I didn't. My daughter gave it to me. She showed me that even in the darkest moments, truth has power. And that courage, no matter how small, can change everything. So if you're listening to this, wondering if anyone will ever believe you, remember this: silence protects the abuser, but the truth will always set you free. And for us, the sweetest revenge wasn't anger or punishment. It was freedom. It was peace. It was building a life Marcus could never touch.